Hello and welcome to the Dog Savant Podcast. My name is Brett Endies. I am a professional dog trainer. This podcast is to share my dog training experience, tips. If you are a person who is in need of dog and puppy training advice, help with your problem behavior dog, or anyone in the real world wanting to learn more about the life of a professional dog trainer or the internet world, this is for you. Please share, subscribe, let everyone know about my podcast and everything else. You can go to my website, dogtrainingla.com. And I also have another podcast called Revitalize, which is following my recent acceptance into vet school and the path going through that step by step. So I've been just kind of sharing that as well. It's a separate podcast I do. So please, follow and support that as well. Um, so let's see. What are we going to talk about today? I want to talk about, I talk about mindsets. I talk about owners. People think I rant. I complain about dog owners, and I'm just pointing out what I see. People just don't like it. Now, if you're going to respond defensively, and I'm like, yeah, I've been down that path. Just don't. And then you just kick and scream more. Do you want to say it's okay? Pat you on the back. It's about helping the dogs. It's not about me. It's not about what I need. I make a living. That's all, and I want to help. That's my nature. It's like what I'm trying to do for like my period on this earth. I'm not really trying to like show the world how great I am. I'm not trying to like win a battle or be right. I don't want to be right. I just want to help. They could pay me. I'm obligated to. If I see a dog that needs help, I have an innate feeling that I have, at least for behavioral needs, an obligation to helping them. Just, I don't know, just I see a dog, I want to help it. Not in a weird emotional way, just I have a skill set that can help in cases. If someone hires me, I'm going to tell you what it takes to help. I'm going to have you do what it needs, what is required for your dog to be helped by you. Because in a lot of cases, and most trainers share, um, that if you are not putting in the work, your dog is going to, number one, just listen to the trainer. Number two, get very stressed by the lack of clear communication. What does that mean? Well, if you create two separate rules, I just saw another trainer, Vermont dog trainer, I think it was. He just did a little video and it's perfect. It's really saying like, well, your dog, you don't want him running up to guests or jumping on guests, but then you let him jump on you when they're on the couch with you at a later date. And then you try to discourage them. He goes, here's the analogy. You get pulled over for speeding 70 and a 50, and the police officer gives you a ticket and says, well, he's supposed to go 50 and a 50. Then you get back in your car and you go 50 and a 50, and he pulls you over again and says, here's another ticket. And you're like, well, what do you want from me? What's expected? What are the rules? What are the clear communications at this specific juncture that you need me to do because you're the rule setter? That's what we have to do for our dogs. We're not the buddy. We're not the friend. We're not the love giver. We're the rule setter in a consistent way, because two things happen, especially with a young dog or a dog that has years of a behavior issue. That's done. You've got to create a whole new route of thinking, if you will, and good habits to replace ones that are just usually overreacting to circumstances because the dog had too much freedom and opportunity to make their own choices. So commands are the way to resolve that, at least in my world when I do the calm system of training, where I teach owners how to use the most basic way to communicate with their dog, which is a command. It's not rocket science. It's not I'm learning all of these levels of mathematics and chemistry. It's not. It's a two-step thing. You tell a dog to do something. First, you take the time to teach it. So there's some luring and reward. We use a treat and a leash and showing them what you want, moving into a position, sitting, going to a spot, laying down, coming when you call them, walking at your side. And then once that's expected, you reward and correct it as needed, and you apply it consistently. If your dog is jumping, your dog is pulling, your dog is following you all over the house. That's what these are for. They're the antidote or the preventative measure in a young dog to teach them how to navigate life without getting overstimulated and overreacting to things. And then the other end of it is humans acting disciplined and not giving it, oh, they're a cute puppy, or oh, it's okay, or all dogs love me, or I'll just ignore them and throw them a tree. And just whatever we feel about it, or the words that come out of us, or the actions that we do without any awareness. How are the dog seeing it? Or, we'll get around to it. It's good enough. Or if the dog sits, lays down, what does it matter? In our world, I guess it doesn't matter. But if a dog you're like, hey, I want you to sit and not move because you could run off into the street or out the door or jump on someone. Or I want you to come when I call you. And sometimes I say come and you're in the yard and I don't follow through and have you do it because I don't want to put the leash on and be consistent for a while so I get a more reliable recall. Whose fault is that? And then when a trainer is to point it out to an owner, and they get defensive, reactive, or, first time you just express it, hey, here's consistency and why. I don't always just say be consistent. I can explain like this and also say, this is learning theory. This is how they learn. This is how their neural pathways form for better or worse. And a lot of this is sensory. If your dog is thinking about so much at once instead of checking back in, and then the instinct of following a leader, there's so many things. You hear me talk about it all the time. Um, but people, they kind of yeah me, or they do a little bit, and it's like you're better off doing nothing, because I see dogs either in my session or with one owner, or most of the time, but not 100% consistent, you're applying training. And training, teaching certain skills, yeah, you can schedule it throughout the day. Just make sure you work on distractions in different environments. But it's like someone's coming to the house, we're about to go on a walk, we're about to feed you, there's an interaction with a new person or a new dog, or the other dogs or people in the family. Training has to be precise, or the dog, especially dogs that are more vigilant, independent minded, can bite or be aggressive, want to do their own thing, you got to rein that in quickly. And sometimes I run into clients who don't necessarily take heed to that, and when I keep pushing it, and I know how people react, I know whether they're going to react and say and apply in front of me in a way that's making this carry over, so long term we can move on. And then again, I have a plan for the dog. If I want that dog to learn like a distance command, or to be able to walk at the side, or stay in a command like sit or down next to the owner in public, but they're not applying it consistently at home, I'm going to be now expecting more from the dog in our sessions. It's like, I'm not a magician. It's not fair to the dog. It's not fair to expect the dog something that isn't being delivered consistently in every situation, gradually developing more challenging circumstances. And that's building 3Ds: duration, distance, distraction. That's adding new environments, new people, and also having varied handlers throughout the family, and interactions with people and other animals in a more structured way than letting the dog figure it out, because most dogs don't figure it out on their own. And that's why I have to deal with so many problem behavior cases weekly. I should share, like, just without the names and numbers, but like the amount of calls and texts I get of all these, and it's always the puppy ran up to people, followed everybody, reacted to what the other dog did. Well, we did training. How consistent were you? Were your commands meaningful? All you got are commands. I can't say it enough. If you're telling your dog to sit and then they don't do it, or they don't do it in the spot where you ask them, they're just going to get confused. Read Temple Grandin's book, Animals in Translation, if you don't take my word for it. She's more autistic than I am. I mean, there's a black and white way that it has to be. I use the analogy, you can't, well, I want to repair my car, but I'm going to leave one tire off. I don't like the other tire. I'll just leave it off. It'll be fine. Maybe get a little driving distance. I want to build my house, but I want to do half a foundation. I want to put only half the insulation in. To get by, long term, it could be a problem and a lot of remedial work. That's what I end up doing. Because the other training is a puppy. That's what I taught the training. And there was also a style of training and not working through and making it real. Like, again, commands are all you got. If your dog doesn't learn to develop an ability to hear a command, hold it like you're running a program, and keep their mind reasonably attentive to it, despite what's going on, starting with not following you all over the house and running up to every new person they see and pulling everyone on the walk, step one. But if you don't get through that and your dog is still working training and then not, or just no training at all at those times, don't, why even bother working on a recall? It's not fair to them to ask him to stay put or at your side when you want him to listen, when it's more going on. Dogs' brains don't work that way. It's not a, oh, we'll get around to it. You got a B plus. That's great. I don't even work that way in my brain. Oh, you're too hard yourself. Why? I get a lot done, and I'm able to be of more service to people because I actually can make myself more available and experience and put the time in, because I do self-sacrifice. And it's not even about that. That's a human thing. It's harder for us. Dogs, they're just dogs. They want a basic communication. And if you let them get overstimulated, it's not only they're going to not know who's leading who, mostly they're going to get conditioned to the wrong behaviors and a very overreactive response that becomes what you're seeing as symptoms of all of your behavior problems, like anxiety, reactivity, impulse control, social issues, chewing, destruction, barking. It's all tied to a dog that's just too ready to go. So I just want to articulate that. It's a real issue for some people, and unfortunately, there's only so much I can do. And what it doesn't upset, it hurts my feelings. It makes me frustrated as a person who really wants to help and help dogs. Is that sometimes people won't just ignore it, which a lot of people could. It's like they'll react to me and start telling me how to talk, and tell them what I just articulated, because they're just not doing it every single time I see them. They're just always just not doing it. It's also not practicing, or other families. What's happening is someone's doing training and I'm there and I'm consistent, and then the other people are allowing the dog to do things that are not contributing to a consistent way of getting through these, usually again new situations. Dogs, just new people, walks, new interactions socially. That is new people in the home, like greetings. And so yeah, so that has to be 100%. I mean, not 99, 100%. 2 plus 2 is 4 every time. 2 plus 3 won't equal 4 no matter how much you try to. And if you sometimes do that, the rest of your equation, if you have a long form, it ain't going to work out. It just isn't. It's just how dogs' brains are. It's learning theory. And we're not looking for them to do part time tricks. We're dealing with real life and skill building or offset of major, major behavior problems. And when I see people with young dogs and they don't want to take heed to what I'm saying, and I know what kind of dog they're dealing with, not so much breed, yes, but like their personality or what's going on extraneous to the training in that environment or with the relationship with owners or certain owners, I can't just say it's okay. It's not what I'm getting paid to do. I'm getting paid to say, hey, time out. There's an issue that we have to address ASAP. ASAP. Consistently, too. Dogs aren't, we'll get around to it. That's not how nature works at all. At all. Look at them around each other. They don't ease into it. It is or isn't. That's it. We got to operate that way, at least through our communication and training. Okay, moving on. Though we'll have a little fun today. I have some videos here about. I just randomly typed Zach George in YouTube. He's a fool. He's a buffoon. He's really not helping. Um, but he has these ways to approach training, and it's fine. Do your thing, be in your lane. But he likes to speak out against like real trainers, and he's making these hard accusations. And I've done videos about it, that dog abusers and this and that, and people use tools. I'm not that popular online, but he points out like people who mention him who are popular. Um, so let's see. I'll just do a short one. I mean, if you know Zach George, I don't know how to yet. I don't know how to yet make it where what I see on my screen, on my YouTube here, um, you can see it, but you'll hear it, and I'll explain what's happening. And one day I will. I'm going to figure all this out little by little. Also, by the way, no BS. Mic is not hooked up. It just looks cool. I have a like a Bluetooth mic clip behind it, but one day I will have this clipped up. So I want to have continuity, right? Like that banner, how it goes, podcast. But yeah, just if you call me out on something too, I really don't mind it. I would like to be as aware of myself as possible. I try not to be a fraud. Again, you have to be genuine around animals. There's no lying to it. When we want to keep our own persona, our own psychological schema, as well as it could work. Look, and I tell people, I'm not telling you how to act in life. It's not my business. Just don't pull it with your dog and me, because it's not going to be productive for the work we have to get done. It just isn't. I've tried it. 30 years at something. You think you don't see things coming miles upon miles away. And when you point it out, people kick and scream or avoid. People avoid too. Like people just like, oh, I just won't work with this guy. Look, it works. It just, you got to apply it, and when you're not applying it, someone's got to tell you, or you're not going to get on track. Just how it is. I'm looking for, okay, he is so goofy. He makes me very uncomfortable when I see him. Um, his face is creepy. All right, so I see some little clips here. So it's a long video. It's almost 25 minutes, but I'll just run through a few little pieces of it. So it says, I have to, if you want to look at it, it's under Zach George's. I'm giving him like plugs, but oh well, he's a goofball. You can make fun of him. Zach George's Dog Training Revolution. I have to get this dog to stop biting and jumping. Exclamation point. Reality dog training. Okay, let's see the reality at hand. I'm going to open it up, put it on. Let's make it loud so you can hear it. Let's turn that off here. Sorry. Off here. Play. Commercial through. Okay, here we go. Okay, so he's got this German Shepherd dog. Pulling, yanking, overemphasizing, biting on his arm sleeve. It's like a puppy. It looks like 7 to 9 months old, max. You don't want to see my guns here with flabby ass arms. So they're just doing the intro, the little, I will train him. And then they show him doing like a Lauren reward, doing a shake with an impatient dog. Really not. Yeah. And he's just doing this goofy heel work. It's probably the same dog, but what I learned is I did a show called The Untrainables for anyone that doesn't know, and it was a small Facebook Watch show. But there was also a show. It was another Dog Whisperer evolution. I was going to be the next generation of dog whisperers, and it was produced by same people that did Caesar 911 and the same. Whatever, it was just the same business manager I had and everything. But anyway, what they wanted me to do is hire other trainers to come move out to LA because we were going to do this, and it didn't work out. But like they wanted me to do that. That's how crappy they were too. They're going to have me have other trainers that quit their lives to come out on a fucking maybe that they made us think was real. They're sick people. But um, yeah, it was they would say like, well, we don't want to waste your energy. We want to, save our time. So we'll have the other trainers train the dog, and then you just kind of jump in when the cameras are rolling, or we'll just kind of in the middle edit it, and it'll look like you're doing all the work. And like, no, I'm gonna train the real goddamn dogs. But yeah, it was probably what they're doing here. But again, not even training. He's just luring the dog and backing away, and the dog's on the harness. He has to show, no matter what, at all costs. Even if you don't fix the issue, put the dog down, rehome it. Doesn't matter. At all costs, we keep it purely positive, which means no aversive tools, no collars, no nose, no physical space, no leash pressure, no. I don't even know what they think about crates. I don't watch him; he's nauseating. But for this entertainment, we'll do it. But yeah, let's listen. There's a little commercial.
As promised, we've got to make up some serious ground here because we are 8 days into our 2-week training process. Do you know we could not find a full bag of Comfort?
He goes right to the commercial for treats. So he's standing there with 4 bags of treats, 3 or 4 bags or 3 bags of treats in his hands. And he goes like within the first 30 seconds of 10 seconds out of his intro, do you know I can't go and watch? He's going to talk about the treats he's promoting. Guaranteed. 3, 2, 1.
Treats anywhere in my house, which is crazy because we get them for free and I get them shipped to me all the time. Comfort treats do not go unused in my house.
Be a little shameful about it. I don't know. But yeah, it's all about the treats. All right to the treats, nothing else. Keep doing what you're doing, but if you introduce treats, it's all going to be all fine and dandy. It all works out just great.
Look at the sweet potato treats. I like using them to get a dog to go.
I use treats too. I'm not no treats.
Handful and just toss them in there to mix things up. Throwing in freeze-dried salmon sometimes can be really effective in my training.
Right, I use it for recall because it helps draw a stronger response. But you phase out of it.
If you decide to check out Comfort treats, use my link.
Your dog has to learn to listen without treats one day.
I love this dog and how awesome her personality is, but holy cow.
They just show him and he's like, there are 2 seconds of him like not even completing the duration of a command. It's like so edited. It's like, can you even get that dog to stay? It's like, oh, we got him for a second. The dog's like not out of focus. Like he's sitting there because coincidentally he's not listening to Zach. But it's just see for things for what they are, people. That's all I want you to do for your dogs. That's all the point of this is.
Really need to get this play biting under control.
It's not play biting.
This is a huge problem.
Your dog's got no respect. Dog's not respecting you.
But since they didn't,
there's a large majority of trainers that just wouldn't get bitten right from the start, and they would know better than to get on the floor and start antagonizing a puppy that's got this issue and making it worse now on the trainer, where they're supposed to be commanding a certain level of order and respect as an association, that then carry that over to the owner's presence.
Have a traditional family to raise them during those first few months of life. They have to understand that they can't interact with the world with their mouth in the way that they might want to.
All right, I agree with that. That's well said there, Zachy.
And like we've established before, dogs use their mouth like this because that's how they grab things. I mean, they don't have hands like we do.
No, they don't. They use it to test each other's level of dominance, to establish hierarchy, and they also do it in play with other dogs because they're symbolically interacting, like trying to herd and control in another space, like in a way people would spar, but nobody has ill intentions, and you win a little, you lose a little. That's why dogs that can't reciprocate or allow each other into the other one's vulnerable spot, or vice versa, mostly vice versa, they have social issues with dogs, and usually on a leash they really get reactive simply because they now can't navigate and fight and flight and turn their head around and navigate their spaces, and now they overreact because they just want it to go away and make the owner leave the situation. That's your psychology of reactivity, by the way. I'm not going to get through this whole video, but you'll hear some points. I like this.
We have to show them how to behave. Stopping play biting 101 is about redirecting your dog's attention onto a treat or a toy, as we've.
So you reward them after they do it. Good job. No, it's actually predicting when it's going to happen and understanding there's a pattern to it in 9 out of 10 cases. Your dog's getting too stimulated in play. Your dog is getting frustrated because they're stepping into a greeting situation they're getting overreactive to. They're feeling frustrated because you're only training them, like I said earlier in this podcast, part-time. So when you train them, it's a tick for tack instead of wanting to listen and comply to get their needs met, and the natural state of your relationship in a consistent way. It means they're not having enough outlet for playing and biting, whether it be with other dogs and for just, chewing, tugging, chasing, flirt poles, tug games, fetch, whatever. Um, and it also should be corrected, not rewarded. Dogs doing really young puppies use bitter apple spray. You could redirect it a little, but I redirect it into training. So I'll redirect them into a place or a sit, and then I reward at least after the command. So the order of operations was reward behavior with undesirable behavior gets redirected into a state that when held gets corrected. And as you get more into that state initially and avoid the correctable behavior we're trying to prevent and extinguish, you get rewarded for that until it becomes normalized. Something like that, right? Trying to on the fly here talk to you guys. All right, so let's listen a little more. It's interesting.
Times in the past, but there's more to stopping play biting than just that. So today, rather than focusing on redirection constantly, I want to kind of teach her a little bit about bite inhibition. She does love being pet, but as we just saw, you can't pet her without her going a little crazy. So that is the thing that I really want to address, her pursuing a human hand with her mouth open. With adult play biting, sometimes it can take a little bit longer because it's more habitualized. They've been doing it for a longer period of time. So it can take a minute. Be patient with them. I'm also hoping to desensitize her to the human touch so that she doesn't feel the need to just say, hey, let go.
Why don't you just you just put a leash on her and send her into a place or a command at the owner's side, let her settle, make that more general, not just when they meet new people, and then learn the pet slowly and discontinue petting as soon as the dog even thinks about biting. You're like many steps behind the 8 ball. Your action potential's already in motion. You got momentum behind that. You got to realize the physics of this, Zach.
Or harness or something. Sit. Nice. See that? Sit. And granted, you shouldn't rush up to a dog to do that, but doesn't mean it won't happen from time to time. And teeth on human flesh from a dog that
why is he sitting?
Very easily get
He's sitting on the floor. He should be standing up.
Break out the chicken here, number one, just to get her.
And he keeps touching her back with a wide, broad palm. When you do that, it stimulates the dog and makes him want to push and pull against you. Especially if he's trying to get to down. He doesn't know handling.
That's really a good start.
He doesn't see. He's in his own space. He's not even reading the whole dog. His attention is more like what he's going to say. In his mode, he's like in the treat. He's looking more at his own hand than the whole dog's body language.
Something she didn't do when she first came here. Very good. Yes. Very good.
All right, you're timing a dog. I understand he's doing a verbal marker, but the issue is that dog was looking at your hand, not your face. Actually, he's going to learn. The dogs will just anticipate. You're a dispenser, not a handler.
Without her being chompy. Good girl. That's a good start.
Dog's looking at your hand.
Yes.
Don't try.
That's what I'm looking.
He does what owners do, and I teach them in the first lesson. If you want your dog to look at you, don't pull their chin to you. They're just going to it's an opposition reflex you're creating. Lure them, redirect their attention, pivot them, and work on it. Standardize it, normalize it. God, the 14,000 likes on this, 3.74 million. I got 1,000, 1,500 in this guy. Unbelievable. This is what you want, people. This is what you want. You want a world of chaotic, out of control dogs thinking this is the only solution. And then worse, like I said before, let him do his thing. Let him have his fan base. But for him to speak out against trainers that are actually addressing this for the reality that it is. And people tell me I rant. Go advocate for dogs like this. Understand the dynamics of what you're even looking at to be able to educate people about this. Because people give me a hard time for being truthful about this. Who else is going to do it?
Anytime she's licking where she was otherwise biting.
I care that much. People don't understand. That's fine.
Yes, I like the licking. That's what I want to see.
Let's fast forward. We'll go a little more into the episode. Let's see him in another environment. So here, he's doing his little talkie. Has his dogs behind him in the paintings.
Moira is even more intense about this.
He's so weird looking. What's up with his eyes?
Than the last one.
And I got eyes. I got blue eyes too. I understand, but he's got weird. He's weird. He's like something's going on behind there. He's hiding something.
You stay. So basically, we're trying to get her to come to me while drawing on that leave it experience she's had in the past in a few different contexts. Okay, come.
Because you didn't have a leash on. You just. He's teaching the dog to come him from a sit and avoid. He's so goofy. He's such a erratic, poor handler. He's so poor. I wish you people could see this. He's like, put a leash on the dog and get it off the harness. But he's trying to get the dog before you took that step of being able, because now the dog just keeps learning. Oh, you want me to come from a sit? And he put a toy, like a doll, on the ground between him and the dog. And in between, he asks the dogs to come straight to him. And he keeps going for the doll on the side. And he just does, he lets it. And then when he handles it, he's all choppy and, man, you know nothing about energy, body language, nothing, Zach. I've never watched him like this. I just see him and hear what he says, and it's just little clips that are just, ugh. But again, let him do his thing. But the way he speaks out about real trainers, the collars, he's not using a collar. He's wearing a collar. He's geared up to the gills.
She's more likely to listen.
He's trying so hard. His body is moving like a windmill. Saying extra words.
More likely they are to listen to you at first.
No, be concise and mean what you say and scaffold this shit. Oh my God.
Give this a shot again.
This guy is difficult to watch.
Yes.
Who?
That's so good.
Because he's nice? Should I be nice? Should I be nice? I'll be likable?
See if I can get a couple of successes here.
Fuck.
Sit. Stay. Okay, come. Yes. Just using different body.
He's so anxious as a handler. You see it.
That I wanted to come in this direction.
Goofball.
Slightly.
Oh, now he's going to try to do nails. He's got the Dremel out. Oh, he's got the big guns.
Yes.
Trying to do shake Dremels, and he's tapping it.
And I'm gonna touch it.
I would do it like that. I would just have a place and a leash and a collar on the dog. And I would not be doing this. I forgot what he was wearing in the last scene, but I wouldn't be doing this in one. Everything's a step back with him. Why don't you start at the right foundation and build step by step up instead of up, down, up, down, up, down. Like a fucking mountain climber.
Leave it alone. So far, she's.
All right, I've honestly, I've had. I think I'm good. Okay, you get the point. It was our first one. We'll do more like that. I'll get like the talking head thing where I can watch it with you and all. But I don't know. So that's my first ever critique, other than little comments I'll make of Zach George. Many trainers. Robert Cabral is very good. He has a lot. He's in the California area too. He has a lot to say about trainers like him and what Zach George says. It's really, again, the issue is he says stuff about trainers that are actually reality based, that we're doing things to dogs that aren't humane, which is insanity. We're actually helping them, and we're not doing anything that hurts them or scares them. We're making them happy and calm, not this disaster show I just observed. Oh, we'll do more. This is ridiculous. This is the advice he gives. So anyone who listens, even if it's 5 of you, please realize I'm only dissecting this because dog owners should not be seeing that this is the pinnacle of dog training advice, even for basic stuff, let alone for like real serious problems that a dog can end up, or someone can end up very, very hurt as a result of this. All right. I got to go back to studying, then I got more clients today. So just don't forget to subscribe, tell a friend, review, Revitalize, REVETALIZED, my new podcast. Thank you, the Dog Savant Podcast. Thanks again for listening and watching.